Before we even start to talk about the gender gap, each and every one of us have been conditioned to think that there are some certain spaces we are not supposed to be at.
What are the most significant challenges women face in male-dominated workplaces?
With women, we love to shy away from difficult conversations. We're not saying women should be given the lighter hand so that they can excel in those jobs. That's not what we're talking about here, right? We are talking about giving everybody an equal playing field.
The woman that we have with us today is the epitome of confidence.
I talked about self-mastery.
Yes.
That is very difficult. A lot of the times, women shy away from doing their numbers. You are scared to come face to face with the fact that, oh, you didn't do well, right? You didn't act well. Women should be able to look themselves in the eye and tell themselves, this is what I want to do, and do just that.
Confidence is the watchword for today's episode. And the woman that we have with us today is the epitome of confidence. She just walked into the room and she just gave everyone a big smile. Look, she's smiling right now. I mean, gosh. She just came in confidently and greeted everyone. And, we're all smiles. Like, we have known each other for years, but we just literally just met. We've met before, but literally just met. And we are so happy to have you today, KARINA. Thank you so much. She's also a visionary of a community as well. So that's right. I mean, it's something that is really, really interesting. Great minds think alike. Today we have with us KARINA OLOLO. I said it well. Yes. OLOLO. Yes, OLOLO. First time, got it. We have with us KARINA OLOLO, and she is a leadership and confidence expert, and she is the pioneer and convener of Pull Her Network. Pull Her Network. So let's go a little bit into Pull Her Network. What inspired Pull Her Network, and is this tied with also, your confidence and your leadership, your skills, and the coaching that you do?
Yes. So, Pull Her Network started in 2020.
Okay.
So basically, when I started Pull Her Network, I was literally just telling a friend this the other time. When I started Pull Her Network, it was more of, womanhood and femininity, right? That was what birthed the idea. But, along the line, we started moving to things like self-mastery, confidence, and leadership. I said self-mastery first because it's a very, very important, thing to talk about, especially as a woman in a leadership space. When you're talking about confidence, when people talk about confidence, they always miss that very important, part, and that's self-mastery, knowing thyself.
Okay, yeah, because you can't be confident if you don't know who you are.
That's right.
And so it starts from that self-awareness, self-mastery, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, because whenever we tie things to self, it might be perceived as a very bad thing. So
Yes,
is there a thin line between it being prideful and then being confident, and prideful meaning very arrogant, and then being confident? What's like the thin line between those two?
I love the fact that you said it's a thin line because people, can lean into the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
But I think when I talk about, self-mastery and confidence, I'm a Christian, by the way. So, confidence in your creator and who made you.
Yeah.
Right? I think that is what I'm talking about. And also when I talk about self-mastery, I'm not talking about being, vain. I'm not talking about that. I'm basically just talking about being very true to yourself, calling yourself on your own BS, and, with women, we love to, shy away from those kind of things.
Difficult talk.
Yes, the difficult conversations. When I talk about self-mastery, I'm just saying that, you are able to sit yourself down and ask yourself that, okay, maybe I would have done this better or not.
Yeah. And another reason where we could flow into, what we're going to talk about today is, when you are confident in who you are, then you are able to dominate in any sphere of life that you are put in.
Right.
And one of the things that I really liked and intrigued me about our conversation was you were talking about women who are able to lead and stand their own ground on their own lane in male-dominated fields, and spheres. What are the most significant challenges women face in male-dominated workplaces, and what statistics are there that highlight the need for this change?
Okay, I love that. So before we even get into that,
Okay.
I am, feet deep into engineering, the oil and gas industry. And so if you are very conversant with the oil and gas industry, you will know that that is the least gender inclusive, industry. With just 21 to 23% of, women in the workforce. That's very low. As at 2024, that's very, very low. So I think one of the challenges is the conditioned bias. Now, I say conditioned because each and every one of us have been conditioned to think that there are some certain spaces that, we are not supposed to be at, right? So I remember one time when I was working and there's this particular, man, and he said, he spoke in broken. He was like, you, what are you doing here? Won't you go to your husband's house? And that's just one of the many scenarios, this microaggressions, to them it might be a joke, but if you look deep, it's that conditioned bias that we all grew up in. How women are supposed to be in the kitchen and the guys are maybe supposed to be at the farm toiling, and or if as a woman, you are taking your work really seriously, they're gonna be like, oh, her children are suffering, she doesn't have a love life. These are the things, this internal bias, this internal judgment. I think that is one thing that women face before we even start to talk about the gender gap, the hiring gap, but first and foremost, I always love to talk about that conditioned bias in each and every one of us.
Yeah, that is knowingly or unknowingly planted into each and every.
That's right.
Yeah, really good. So what actionable strategies because we know this is there, we know this exists, what actionable strategies can women use to establish their authority? We're not trying to be assertive, we're not trying to force our way into anything, but what way can we use that to build confidence, on their own leadership roles and stand on our own lane?
When I talk about these things, I want to just give everybody a heads up.
Okay.
When we talk about conversations, when we talk, things like this, we're not saying women should be given the lighter hand or the lighter jobs, so that they can excel in those jobs. That's not what we're talking about here, right? We are talking about giving everybody an equal playing field. So what women can do, basically, and I'm going to keep this very, very simple, is bring value. We need to bring value. Situations whereby two people are set for a particular role. Right? But you'll find out that the man is being paid more. Do you get? Than the woman. But when you look at things, you see that they are both doing the same things. They are both they're both producing the same results. But for some reason, the man should be paid more because he has a family to take care of at home and things like that. So I think women should be rewarded for their work.
It's good that we're having this conversation, because it's a conversation that must be had for other generations to know that it's not just going to be handed to us on a platter. We have to work hard and give value for it. We cannot demand things when we are not giving anything in return.
Yes.
So I'm happy that we started with that baseline so that we can move on to other things. So we're not looking biased and screaming, oh, come and help us. No. So let's go into transformative habits. Because, we have a woman that is on her own lane who knows now that she has to give value and she has to, actually now start putting her right foot forward, left foot forward and start doing the actual work in order to get, the reward. So what are personal habits that you have? Let's start with you. Let's start with your personal habits that you have developed that have significantly impacted your life and your career. And then you can now give it to the woman on her own lane, habit that can actually significantly change her career or her business or whatever it is she's doing that she wants to excel and thrive.
All right. So, I mentioned something before we started this podcast. I talked about self-mastery.
Yes.
That is very difficult. Right? So, especially when it comes to your work, right? I'm an entrepreneur. A lot of the times, women, shy away from doing their numbers. Because deep down, they know that this business is actually not running itself. But you're scared to come face to face with things like your numbers.
Yeah.
Right? You are scared to come face to face with the fact that, oh, you didn't do well. Right? You didn't act well. In this particular situation, you were not supposed to burst out of anger, or you were not supposed to be emotional. You were not supposed to cower into, your emotions. So basically, self-mastery. Women should, be able to look themselves in the eye and tell themselves, this is what I want to do, and do just that. So now we have entered self-discipline. I think that is something that has really helped me, just doing what I tell myself I'm going to do. It's not harder than that, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
But then very, very difficult, because it's you versus you. The only person that is going to applaud you is you. The only person that, so it's really you versus you.
Yeah.
Yes. So self-mastery and, self-discipline, holding yourself accountable.
Yeah, holding yourself accountable. So if you know you're going to do something, you just have to get on and do it.
That's right.
So if you want to start a new habit, you have to start implementing that new habit.
Yes.
You can't. No one can do it for you.
No one can.
If only, if only it were that
easy.
If only
Exactly.
it were that easy. I mean,
Yes.
we wouldn't even be having this podcast.
Conversation. Exactly.
It would just have it easy. But we have, we have work to do. We have value to give. So we're here, and work has to be done. So I'm actually happy with the way you said that. Yes, thank you so much. You're welcome. So you're a leader in your own sphere, and we want to know how women leaders can overcome imposter syndrome. Now, imposter syndrome is, I feel like we can even discuss imposter syndrome for the whole day, because it is something that affects everyone. And I'm happy that it's something that even people at the top, women on their own lanes that are thriving, also say that they have faced and overcome imposter syndrome. But how do you feel like women leaders, and any woman that's listening to, or anyone listening to this podcast, can actually overcome imposter syndrome and discover and just develop this unwavering confidence in their ability to actually get that thing done?
So even before, coming here, I was faced with imposter syndrome. That's to show you that everybody faces it. Everybody. But one thing that has really helped me to build my confidence, that has helped me to combat imposter syndrome, is not by looking in the mirror and telling myself I am bold, I am strong. It is by doing, confidence building activities. What do I mean? That means, that looks like doing hard things.
Okay.
I know this might sound cliche, but unfortunately, there is no other way to do it than just doing it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the reason why I always tell myself, when I tell myself that I'm going to do something, I don't fail my own trust.
Yeah.
I don't fail my own self. Right? Because you see those little things where you tell yourself you're going to do something and you end up not doing it. You might feel that no one is watching, but subconsciously you're telling yourself that you can't do anything. You might not know it till it's time for you to do another thing, and you keep telling yourself that same excuse that I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Watch those people. They are never confident. But watch the people who tell themselves they are going to do things, even if they fail.
Try.
Even if they fail. See, that's the reason why, when people talk about failure, I don't believe in the term failure, but let's not even go into that. But what I'm trying to say is that you build confidence by doing confidence building activities, right? Like now, next month, what I want to do is to learn how to swim.
Wow, I'm applauding you.
Now, right? Now, it might seem insignificant to any other person.
Right.
But, when I see, people, traveling and, they're diving into this large body of water, and I'm like, I can't even do that. I'm scared of water. Do you get? I'm so scared of water. But then I just took it upon myself. Okay, what's stopping you?
Right.
You're God winning, wishing upon a star. What's stopping you? And that's why I just signed up for the next class next month. So these are the little things. Those little things, they help you to build your confidence. So even when you know, you come face to face with imposter syndrome, you will. You will. As you go higher up in the ladder, you will. It's inevitable, right? You would always feel, you're not good enough, because especially when that's your first time doing something.
Right.
But when you look at your journal, I journal a lot. When you look back at your journal, you're like, okay, I did this, I did that. You can see your track record, literally. You're like, okay, what is this? Let me just add to that. So I think that is, yes, exactly. I think that is how you build confidence, and that's how you combat imposter syndrome.
Nice. And I like the fact that you said you do what you say you're going to do. And I think it also starts with you actually starting with small things.
That's right.
Doing the small things. I say, not just brushing it off.
Exactly.
When you do the small things that you say you're going to do, you do the big things. You do the larger things. And then it gets more and more. You get more and more confident.
Yes. Like, imagine, how do you feel after you've taken everything that you tell yourself you're going to do in a day?
Dopamine boost is lovely.
You sleep well.
It's lovely.
So you doing it.
I've given myself this goal that I have to do 8,000 steps every weekday. And yesterday I was so tired. Like, I was so tired.
But it's a good tired.
But it's a good tired. But I had just been at, like, I think it was 4,000 steps. And I was like, Shivi, if I just decide I'm not going to do it, nobody's going to
know. Exactly.
Something in my mind was like, you are going to step. I went around my living room for like 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and I looked at my watch and I saw that it was 8,000. So I was so happy.
Yes.
So I feel like that's just something, me saying, I was able to do what I wanted to do. So I'm able to conquer any other thing that I want to. There's some things I'm looking at now in my list, and I'm like, okay,
that dopamine boost,
beautiful.
It falls into other things in your life. When you talked about, doing the small things, it falls into other things in your life. So basically, at the beginning of this year, so last year I told myself I was going to run the 10K.
Wow.
The GT 10K. Nice. So so I started practicing, I drafted a plan. Thank you, ChatGPT. I drafted a plan, and I followed suit, like, and I ran it, and I was like, oh my goodness, if last year me could see me now, do you get? And like, when I finished that 10K, I told myself, okay, this time next year, I'm running the 42K. That's a full marathon. Wow. So see you there.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
I'll definitely put a reminder for that.
That's right.
And then, the fact that you didn't just wake up one morning and say, I'm running the 42K. You started with the 10K. So you started small. And then now you're able to you're confident in the 10K. Now you're able to do the 42.
It's just like a domino. It keeps falling into other aspects of your life.
Yeah, so that's how confident. That's a very good takeaway. Start with the little things. Take it off. And then you'll be able to do the bigger things. So everybody goes through imposter syndrome. So everyone has a quote that they live by. What's the one quote that you live by? Or it might be a Bible verse, it might be a quote, a favorite inspirational quote or a poem, whatever it is, something.
There's not like one quote. But I think my recent quote that I wrote in my journal, I don't know who wrote it.
Yeah.
But it said something, I'm just paraphrasing, that small is nice, but big is necessary. So I'll tell you what that means to me.
Okay.
So last year I did an event, with the network, Poha Network, right? Yeah. So I wanted to play safe. You know what I mean by playing it safe? Keeping it small.
Yeah.
So if I fail, at least
just a few people get just a few people.
You get me?
Yeah.
So, but then, and that's also the importance of having very good quality people in your corner. And I remember talking to one of my friends, and he was like, huh?
Why?
Why do you even want to, why do you want to waste your time? Like, anything worth doing is worth doing well. So that's quote number one.
So you have a quote.
Okay. All right. So anything worth doing is worth doing well.
Right.
And small is nice.
Yeah.
But sometimes big is very necessary. I think, so that's my favorite quote. That's what helps me to not think small. Because a lot of times we want to keep it safe. We want to play it safe so that at least we tried. At least we'll just close that chapter and run away and nobody knows, right? So yeah, small is nice, but big is necessary.
Yes, that's actually good. Big is necessary.
Yeah.
Small is nice, meaning, okay, you can play small, but you you have to play big. You have to think big. You have to actually take the big steps that you need to.
Yeah.
No more baby steps. You have to grow now.
No more baby step. Especially when you also know your value. Like, for instance, your podcast, you know what you want to do, right? So it's also one thing that someone told me the other time, and she said something,
Yeah.
she was talking about it concerning my business, right? She said that, what's the point of, what's the point? I have a bakery, by the way.
Wow.
So she tried my cakes, and she was like, what's the point of doing so well, having this really bomb cake, and nobody knows about it? Like, why are you doing us so much disservice? Right?
It's a different perspective.
Exactly. So in my mind, I'm like, oh my goodness, small is nice, but big is necessary. Like, it's not just for you. It's not just for me. There are other people who are begging for that value you have to give.
Yeah.
So yeah, small is nice, but big is necessary.
So what does success mean to you? I know that's a big word and that's a big term and that means different things to different people, but it will mean something to you and you'd like to know what that means to you.
Success is not a big word to me.
Ooh, girl. Oh, I've forgotten that we have the person in charge, she talks about confidence. So I mean, success is not.
Success is not a big word to me. It's just simply doing what I told myself I'm going to do. That's so I tag myself as a very successful person.
Right.
I'm not trying to be proud or anything. It's just that I have my track record. When I go back, I'm like, you know what, girl, well done. So I don't really base success, on the output of things. And so what do I mean by this? So imagine maybe I'm preparing for an exam, or I want to get this job, and I'm told to come for an interview or something, or just something, right? And I go for this interview, I play my cards right, I play my cards well. Okay, I know that I came correct. But somehow along the line, I'm not chosen. Would I say I failed? I won't go home thinking I failed. Well, that's me though. I won't beat myself up thinking I failed. It's more like, oh well, something else is coming around. Maybe this is not for me. I also believe very much in divine timing. So yeah, that's success to me. Just basically, what I can control, doing what I can control. So that's it.
And you mentioned something, and this is something that was going to be tied into the next question, which is question from the community. We had a question where it was about someone who she's trying to build confidence, and I think it also goes back to what you're talking about, how exactly she would be able to track what she does, apart from journaling, just to be able to look back and, take what she has gone through in order to project. So apart from, your normal journaling and what other steps can someone who is trying to build her confidence on her own lane take, in order to have that, the day that she needs that pep talk, because we all go through that, she's able to give herself that and look back and be like, okay, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I think we talked about that, and that's why I said building confidence, doing confidence building things, activities. Now, it could be anything. The problem is that a lot of people undermine some of their certain successes. Do you understand me? So basically they feel that, success has to be 10,000 followers on Instagram. Then I'm not a successful content creator. Or it has to be a particular, amount of, money in their bank account. People don't look within themselves to ask themselves that, okay, you know what do I like? What do I want? What does success mean to me? What would make me genuinely happy? What would make me genuinely fulfilled in myself? Nobody's doing that work because it doesn't matter. It's not good on paper. Well, I'm not saying it's not good on paper, but they always just love to pick what everybody else is picking. What exactly do you want for yourself, girl? And go for that. right? Because the thing is that, what do they say about comparison being the
Thief of joy.
thief of joy?
Yeah.
Do you get? So what I'm going to say to her is that, go to your quiet zone, your quiet time, and ask yourself, what is it? What exactly do you want? Right? What exactly do you want? And start doing those things. Now, I remember when I wasn't always this outspoken. I used to be very, very shy. Oh my goodness. Like, please don't talk to me. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Please don't pick me. Don't pick me. But I remember when I hosted my first event, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And that was just the domino that set everything rolling. And it was a roller coaster that only goes up, basically, right? So that's one thing about just doing. And also, your track record is very important. On those days, you need your pep talk.
Yeah.
Right? I have so many journals because I love to write. I don't like using my phone. I love to write down things, right? How did you feel? How did that make you feel? When you're embarking on a big project, write down. I can be very anxious.
Okay.
Right? So this is honestly a problem. I get anxious for things I'm not even supposed to even be anxious over. I don't even know, right? But this is something I have figured, right? So I always learn to write down how I feel.
Right.
Write down how I feel when
That happened.
And when the whole thing is being done and I have gotten my success or whatever it is, right? And so when I have those track records and I flip, I'm reminded over and over that, one, God is within me. And two, this is just an opportunity to just build my track record and that it would go well, right? And again, I don't want to say even if it doesn't go well, right? Because you always learn something.
No matter what.
There is always something to learn, right? That's the reason why I don't believe in failure, right? There is always something to learn, always. And that in itself is a good one because that thing you learned would would help in something else in your life. You just never know. Life is beautiful.
Yeah. A very positive person.
Yes.
So I like your outlook on life, always looking at the positive side of things. We hope that question really helped the person that sent it. Thank you so much, Karen, for joining us. And we are so happy that you're able to join us for today's episode. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
If you have one or two things that you learned, please drop it in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, and to share. Bye for now. Don't stop walking on your own lane.